So welcome. I'm Dr. Sheila Brandt. I'm the CIS Department Chair, and this is our 7th annual Configuring Your IT Career event. So most of you, I noticed most of the faces, recognize most of you, CIS majors or folks interested in IT. So this event was designed for you to put you in contact, direct contact with IT professionals and let you hear from all of them about what's going on in the industry, career paths, how did they get started in their jobs. So they're here for you. We really appreciate their time today. Dan will take a little bit of time here and make sure each one of them gets introduced. Please mute your phones. We know you can't turn them off, but if you could mute them, that would be great for the event. And we hope that you pay attention and take advantage of the wonderful panel that we put together for you this year. So thanks for coming.
Thank you very much, Sheila. And again, we appreciate Sheila for all she does for the department, tremendous leadership. Again, I'd like to welcome you as well. My name is Dan Kombelik. I see a lot of familiar faces out there. Glad to see you all both in class and outside of class here at our event. So what I'm going to do is just walk down, have the panel introduce themselves. I mean, we have been rotating through on the PowerPoint slides what some of their bio or information is, but we'd like them to go ahead and start speaking. And then we're going to kind of kick this off. I've got some questions, but really this event is for you. So if something occurs to you, please want to encourage you to ask questions, interact. The more interactive this is with the audience, I think the more energy the panel will have, as well as more beneficial will be for the event itself. So if we can start down here with Steve, if you would go ahead, please.
All right, well, my name is Steve Kahn. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. I have a marketing company in Scottsdale, pretty close to here. It's a full-service marketing company, so half my business is print. So we do business cards, posters, trade show displays, and whatever. Then the other part of my business is web development, and we do search engine optimization. A little bit in social media, but I prefer search engine optimization as far as the web marketing aspect of it. I started my business in 2009. I did it with almost no money. Now I have 7 employees, and I'll probably do $1 million this year for the first time. And I've been growing like 30-40% every year. I actually started teaching myself web development. That's how I started the company, but that only goes so far. I hired employees, and I pretty much really don't do any of that anymore. You wouldn't want me to design anything from a web development perspective. So I'm happy to be here today, and feel free to ask me any questions. I am not an IT professional, but I just employ IT professionals. So.
Well, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate that. Michael.
Good evening. I'm Michael Heiser. I'm the IT site director for Wyndham Hotels. Our data center is here in Phoenix, a primary data center, and we support over 7,000 hotels, I believe is the number now, globally. And everyone in our facility, other than managing the data center, is every skill set requiring an engineer or administrator. And so that would be servers, databases, middleware, networks, etc., to sustain the infrastructure and operations for a fairly large, or one of the largest hotel chains.
All right, perfect, thank you. Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick Hill. I'm a senior cloud engineer with Phoenix Snap Data Centers. We are primarily a data center company and a hosted cloud services provider. We have a public cloud, much like Amazon or Azure. And we do a lot of private cloud and hybrid systems. My primary focus is VMware infrastructure, all aspects of, and Linux administration, but primarily VMware and virtualization.
Thank you, Nick. Andrea.
I'm Andrea Rowe. I'm with Intel Corporation. I've been there 21 years, and I've been in the industry 7 years before that, so pretty much all my life. I've been in high tech, so I'm currently a program manager in the mergers and acquisition space for IT. So whenever we have a divestiture or an acquisition and we need to do some integration or de-integration, I would manage all the IT-specific activities. But I've worked across almost every IT group. I've been in the supply chain side, so I've done quite a bit of different things at the company, and be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Sukhpal.
Hi. So my name is Sukhpal Singh, and like Andrea, pretty much my career has been in IT throughout. Being a developer, architect, integration architect, came to a career point where, should I say technical or go management, chose the leadership route, had my share of learning experience, what it takes from being an outstanding developer to a manager. I'm with Choice Hotels right now, and Choice is a pretty high-tech technology company. That's basically what we do. Even though we are a hospitality company, we support almost 6,500 hotels, domestic and international, and we are expanding. And mainly I manage their digital experience, website, mobile. So happy to be here. Leadership is something which is very close to my heart, apart from technology. So any questions, I'll be happy to take that and share with you my journey.
Thank you very much. And Lisa.
My name is Lisa Fitch. I am actually in human resources, and I work for a company called J-Curve Technologies. We're a small organization in Tempe, about 135 employees right now. I've been there since 2012. And the perspective that I can provide to you all is the recruiting process. I've been connected with Scottsdale Community College primarily for the networking program. At J-Curve, we are a third-party support organization, and about half the organization is supporting end users of hosted VoIP networks. So we are hiring kind of entry-level tech support positions, and I find a great pool of those individuals to be at the community college level, associate's degree level. So I can talk to you about recruiting, how to prepare for interviews, that sort of thing, at least on the entry-level tech side.
Well, awesome. And again, thank all of our panelists for coming today. Okay, now if you would go ahead and pull out your phones. Since our panels introduced themselves to us, we thought it'd be appropriate for the audience to introduce themselves to the panel. So we've got a couple of questions that we want to prompt you with to let them kind of see where you are and where you're headed or where you'd like to head. So let me launch this. And if you've never done this before, what you can do is just key in the PIN, which is up on the board there, 503-0080. Enter that in. And you're going to come up with a nickname. Do recognize that everybody else can see your nickname, so we want to keep it professional.
Bill Gates is here. That's nice.
Wow, you got 51, 52. That's a nice way to keep track of who's here.
We're taking attendance.
You have ghosts here. Oh, his twin brother.
Well, there's Bill Gates and Billy Gates is here.
The whole state. That's nice.
So while we're waiting for everybody to get logged in, I do want to take a moment to thank our administration that's come here. Susan Peterson, if you would please stand up. She is our dean. Okay. So thank you very much, Susan. And the Computer Information Systems Department is part of the Business and Information Systems Division. Our division chair is also here today, Suzanne Blum. If you would please stand up, take a bow. And also I see in the back, Pat Serrano. If you don't know Pat, you need to go and meet Pat. Pat is our in-house CIS advisor, and she knows the path through all of our different programs of study. Pat, if you would please stand up, and I want to thank her for all of that. All right, let's play. Sheila, are you going to run this one? You get 20 seconds, so but basically this is just a survey. And what we're looking for first is, what is your program of study focused? Okay, so for our panelists, if you want to maybe just turn your seats a little bit so you don't have to just crick your neck for the next 10 minutes. So we offer programs of study, A+, hardware, networking, infrastructure, web design and development, also in software design and development, virtualization, cloud computing. So you can see we've got a pretty good mix here across the table. The virtualization, the lower representation there, with this brand new program, so that's also encouraged that those students are here as well. When do you plan on completing your program of study? So what we're looking for here is, how soon you'd like to graduate and move on to the next level. So it looks like we've got you here for another year, most of you. Spring of 2018. Got some graduates coming up this semester. Congratulations. Next fall. And the rest of you are going to be here with us for a lot longer. Now, when you graduate from SEC, what's your next plan of action? All right. So the 8 of you that are not sure, again, Pat Serrano is the person you want to talk to in the back. So. Now we're kind of curious, which one of these do you use most during your daily communications?
We thought the answer to this would be interesting for our panelists as well.
Interesting. All right, so we see where Facebook is on the continuum at this point, and then the 12 emails, that would include me and all the ones that are over 30 probably, but. Okay, which platform do you use the most to access your digital resources? Smartphone, tablet, laptop, desktop. Interesting. All right, so a lot of use of the smartphones, laptops, not as much with the tablets. Okay, when you're researching new material, okay, what format do you prefer that material to be in? Print, include books, magazines, e-text, web-based. I don't have a preference.
What's that?
What are they going to do with the? Oh, okay. PCs and tablets.
Web-based.
Sure.
No preference, that's nice. Okay, here's me again over here in the print textbook. Okay, what is your interest level in getting an internship focused around your program of study here at SEC? All right, that's great to see. I mean, we are very interested in getting you internships, so please talk to your instructors. Sheila, Ron are the two major focuses behind that, but we all participate in looking to get students in internships. And which best describes your current employment status? This is the last question. All right, pretty even across the board. Currently working, about a fourth of the population. Not working, going to school. All right, thank you very much for playing the game, taking part in this. Does the panel, anything really kind of stand out just looking at that information? Anybody, any impressions that popped in your head? Yes.
The first question related to A+ hardware networks, does that include security? Is there a security component for that?
We do offer a security class, but that's at more of the tail end. So we don't have, at this point, a particular specialization in security.
Okay.
But Mike, we do have security in all of our classes on what I would call the network and hardware side of the house, the infrastructure side of the house. And then there's a class called CIS 270, which is particular to security. And that would be a capstone type of, or last class that a student would take.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So Sheila, we have just one roaming microphone? Is
Yep,
that?
I can roam fast.
Okay. So why don't you come in the center?
Okay.
So we're just going to throw it out right now. Does anybody have any questions? Because I got a bunch of questions, but then anybody want to be a hero? Okay. So the hero asking the first question gets one of our T-shirts, CIS at SCC.
Hi there, my name is Jesus Torres, and I'm working currently right now taking classes for CIS 105, 270, and 170 at the same time.
A+ certification courses, BTC 170, 270 are A+ track.
And I just wanted to know how many of you are looking to find internships by this summer, possibly?
He's raising his hand, telling you. Yeah.
So, as I said, I support the digital experience platform for choice. So we are currently looking for interns for the upcoming semesters. So if you're interested, we can talk about it. I can coordinate with Sheila, and then
Or Ron Monroe.
yeah, and that's a pretty. It's a pretty good program. I've been with Choice for 2 years and come across some pretty smart interns, and a few of them decided to stay on. So it's a pretty good program. Check it out. I'll share information with Sheila on that.
Thank you.
My name is Riley McDougall. I'm currently taking CIS 233, CIS 190, and 166 and 162.
Okay, so C#, web development, network essentials, and what was the other?
JavaScript.
And JavaScript. Yeah, maybe don't use your numbers.
Yeah, okay, yeah. All right, so my question is, what certifications do you recommend people to get that are looking to get jobs?
Specifically as a developer, or like what kind of field are you looking to get into?
And he's probably, it sounds a little bit like he's experimenting at this point in time because he's doing some networking classes as well as some development classes. So,
As far as developers go, I'm not terribly familiar. I'm more focused on infrastructure. But I think any of the major vendor kind of entry-level certifications, like your CCNA, your RHCSA, MCITP, even your VMware VCA, stuff like that. Any of the entry-level certifications, I think, are a fantastic way to gain some knowledge about what you're looking at, and also to give recruiters and managers something to kind of help you distinguish. So,
Mike?
So I have a couple different approaches to this. You know, first of all, in my position, I hire people all the time. Certifications, per se, I always view as a nice to have, like the proverbial icing on the cake. It's the real world experience that someone like me is really looking for, whether that's through internships or really interesting or creative school projects. And also as a father of some college-aged students, I gave similar feedback to like one of my younger sons. He just got his computer science degree from NAU, and I gave him the same advice. Latch on to some of the really interesting projects that you can while you're in school, or pursue internships that you feel like are going to cement the career path you have in mind. And so that's probably the best advice I can give you there.
I think that's really great. The only thing I'll add to that is IT is such a big field now, so you need to try to find out, what is it that comes naturally to you. Every field is pretty interesting. There is databases, networking, cloud computing, mobile. Just listening to some of the classes you are taking sounds more like software development area, web, mobile. I think there's a good advice that try internship that gives you, step in the door, allow you to feel what that career may look like, and give you a little bit more data points as you're figuring out your career.
Yeah, and at Intel, I think it's never going to hurt to have a certification. But if you get into a group, because you may not really even get to pick and choose. When we bring in CGs or interns, it's kind of a pool, and different managers talk with you, and then someone picks you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to go do this, okay. And you had no idea. So if they want you to have a certification, they will pay for you to have a certification. So definitely, I think kind of getting in and seeing what interests you. And then if you see that you really like something and you really want to go study it, that you certainly could do that. But I don't think it would be a requirement coming in.
So a CG, though, is a college graduate?
Sorry.
Okay, well, I'm done.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that college graduate typically a bachelor's degree, or is it AA degree?
Well, so it typically would be a bachelor's degree. Just last year, though, Intel did pilot, or has been piloting, an internship program with a few community colleges. So far, it's been in California and Oregon. And I know they're kind of discussing what's going to happen this year. So they would have already hired their interns for this summer. I think someone had that question, because we tend to try to jump on that around February, and sometimes even as early as December, we start locking in our interns. But it could well be renewed, and this would certainly be a great location, considering we've got two major facilities, 20 miles down the road. Yeah.
Very nice. Lisa, what were you going to say?
I was just going to basically confirm what the other folks have said, that it's a nice thing to have, but not a requirement, especially as I mentioned, I'm hiring entry-level tech support positions. Just to give you an indication, our starting pay rate is $13 an hour. So we often will see someone that's got the A plus or N plus. Those are kind of the two that would fit within that pay range, to be honest. But what sometimes happens during the interview process is, yes, they've got the certification, but they can't necessarily back it up with the things that are applicable to our position. So I would focus more on the content than the certificate.
Hi, my name is Alona. My question is, I'm kind of very scared of pigeonholing myself, and picking a degree has been very hard. I know I want computers, so I'm like curious what I guess I don't need to know all of your degrees, but how many of you sort of fell into your career and it's not necessarily you got a degree in software development and that's all you've done this whole time? And then I guess to follow that up, do you believe an internship is sort of more important than a degree? Like if you've been working for a certain company, is that kind of trump if your degree was in something else?
Alona's lost.
We can help find her. So my degree is in supply chain. And that is not, it's a business degree, it's not a technical degree. And my first, 15 years of working was in supply chain. My last few years, I did start working on a lot of IT programs with the developers and the analysts, and somehow they convinced me to come and join them. So I'm not a developer, I'm not a technical person. However, I do fine in IT because they need PMs, they need people to pull together all the technical teams, get the plan, get it done. So it is fine. I think as far as the internship, I think my internship that I had in college was huge in projecting me into, the real world when I graduated. I went to ASU, I interned at, it's not here anymore, but it was the Motorola government group down on Scottsdale or Hayden. And that was huge. I graduated with 8 offers because I had that internship on my resume. So I wouldn't say it's more important than my degree because I don't think I would have been hired into any of those companies.
Well, I guess I mean like the field of your degree.
Yeah, but no, and I think it's perfectly fine. I think it helps if your degree is aligned with your internship because you're probably going to have a better chance of getting an internship aligned with what you've been doing. If you go and say, I want to intern in marketing, but yet you are a technical developer, it may not be as easy. But I do think it's really helpful to get into the workforce and also to know more what you want to do too when you get into the real workforce.
I would say I'm probably the very, very rare case here. I do not have a college degree, and it hurt me a lot. I started doing computers when I was really young. My parents did it, so it's one of those kind of follow in the footsteps kind of careers. But because I started college but didn't finish, I spent a good part of the early part of my career with a lot of entry-level jobs, doing lots of tech support, lots of phones, lots of call centers, that kind of thing. And I had to gain a lot of that experience that you get from internships and degrees that you guys are all getting here. And it took me a lot longer to do it. And it helps you kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like, but at the same time, it's definitely a hindrance. So I think that whether you know what you want to do or you don't know what you want to do, you'll find that along the way. I would probably say that none of us up here are doing now what we started doing when we first got into IT, and that's just kind of the way the field works. So if you're not sure yet, don't sweat it.
Back in my engineering days, the team I was working with in R&D, I was the only one with the information systems degree. Everyone else was a math major. And, because of the algorithms involved when you're doing, complex development. And I don't know if that's possible today. And I would also add that the advice I always give people is do what you're passionate about. It's a lot easier to get up in the morning when you really love what you do. And my son that I mentioned earlier, he was able to get the full-time job he has today because of his internship. So that's something to consider. Those opportunities can lead to something permanent.
So just to add one more thing, we talked about degree. One of the things these degrees do is it creates your environment. You meet a lot of like-minded people, and especially when you look at startups, one person moves, and then basically they just don't move themselves. They take their whole team. Right. So depending upon where you want to be in the future, that support mechanism, you do need that support mechanism. Today, even looking for a job is not that you walk in with a resume. A lot of these things happen looking at your projects, looking at your LinkedIn profiles and what people are talking about you, right? So that's the kind of mindset you need to have, that it's not just you, what support mechanism you have around it. What are the people that you can bounce off ideas? Because IT today is all about ideas. Anybody who has an idea, you can pretty much go build an app or build a website, but what differentiates you is the business understanding and the idea. So I think that's something you always need to keep in mind, that what is it that I'm trying to solve?
I was going to hit Steve. You have a comment. It looked like you wanted to say something. So,
Well, I also didn't finish college neither, and I actually pretty much had a leader position. My first career was I managed a grocery store in Chicago, bars and restaurants. So marketing was a big part of my title, and I didn't answer the previous question before about what the requirements of it. I mean, I had employees of every different education level, some that are self-taught, some with that went to school. I actually have an intern from this school. I hired her after she was done, and she still works for me today, and she does a really good job. I've had people bachelor's degree. I don't know if I've ever had anyone higher than that, but it really doesn't matter to me that much. I mean, I do prefer an organized education, but I kind of look more like at the person and how well they'll fit within my team. And it's pretty much what I look for. And I usually kind of test them out a little bit, and that's pretty much how I pick them. I give them a little project to do for me, and if it's well thought out, their communication was really good. That's what I'm more focused on. But yeah, I mean,
excellent.
I more or less have the entrepreneurship bug.
Very cool. You're on.
Thanks, Dan. Hi, I'm Jim Hunt. I am currently in the A+ certification class. I'm curious, I have a previous degree that's completely unrelated to tech or computer science, but I want to go into computer science through tech, specifically interested in security. I was wondering how many of you are interested in people who want to start in IT and perhaps mold into a computer science security position.
Well, security is a huge element at Intel right now. That's one of our key buzzwords for the year, probably across the industry, I'm guessing. So we have a really large IT security group, and I definitely think there would be an interest in something like that for sure. Lots of opportunities, lots of different roles, which is what I like about Intel. Is you don't really like something, you can usually do something else, or a new project comes, or a new manager. It's like every month there's something new, so you never really get tired of it. Yeah, but it's a huge element this year. Yeah.
I think you've chosen a good path based on current trends, because in my career, when it comes to IT leadership and executives, the number one reason why I see people lose their jobs is because of compliance and security. And it's for folks like you and people in the industry that keeps people like me off the evening news.
Yeah. So,
and it seems every month there's some major breach somewhere, and so I definitely think you're choosing a path where there's a lot of, pardon the pun, security.
Job security.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So kind of going along with the current trends right now. Sorry, I'm Skylar. I'm taking a bunch of different classes here, some programming classes, some networking classes. I have my A+ certification. But I was curious, what do you guys see are like the most evolving trends? Like, I know cloud computing has been a big buzzword over the past year or two, but what are like the biggest evolving trends right now, and what are those roles that are going to need to be filled within the next year or two?
Yeah, so I can go, and then, so I think some of the trends, as you said, cloud computing is a big trend right now. Everybody is moving into cloud and learning, and Amazon or Google. Mobility is the other trend. Everybody is shopping on the mobile phone, or at least they start their looking on the mobile phone, and maybe they end the booking or purchase on a desktop. Some of the other areas are data. Data is becoming huge. So data scientists, data mining, data architects, that's another field that's coming up, tied with machine learning, because the amount of data that we are generating is so huge that it's becoming impossible to just sift through all that. So that is becoming in itself a big field with machine learning, artificial intelligence, and driving intelligence from that. Internet of Things, IoT is another, all this connected world. So there is a lot that is coming, from an IT standpoint. Do some Google searches or stuff like that, but these are the main trends that are emerging, and actually companies are starting to use these. These are technologies which are not just hype. There are pilots happening. There are companies working on these technologies currently.
I would say the first thing I would say is of the 4 or 5 things that I jotted down on my piece of paper, although not directly involved, they are all related to coding or developing in some way. So I think that's an important skill to have, even if it's not your career focus. I think it's an important thing to be able to do in this field. The things that I wrote down were cloud computing and security, and automation is a big one, especially in the enterprise. Things like Puppet and Chef and Salt and Ansible, stacks that help you consistently deliver a good product every single time. Those are very big in what we do. And even though it may not look like it on the surface, there's a lot of them are more or less just code as a service. So I think that's an important kind of piece to have in your tool belt.
Steve, how about you? I mean, what do you see coming down the pike in your business?
Well, for the people in this room, that would be web developers. I mean, mobile responsiveness is the most important thing. Most visits to a website are on a mobile device. That went over the 50% mark in 2014. Google's evolving their algorithm all the time, so I kind of have to keep up with that. Search engine optimization isn't nowhere near it used to be. All it used to be about was content and linking and that sort of thing. Now you have to be involved in social media, directories, reviews. Reviews are becoming very important now. Content, of course, is always king. And like I said at the beginning, linking.
So how do you guys keep up with the changing trends of, like, for search engine optimization and things like that?
Well, I mean, obviously, you certainly try. It's good quality to have to read the industry periodicals and stuff like that. I do have a Google certification, so they send me a lot of information a lot, and it's really, you're actually always playing catch up with them. It's pretty much, but we do a pretty good job.
Good evening. My name is Jan Rakitsky. I'm an international student here working towards the A+ certification as well. My question is to you, Lisa, since you're an HR expert. What are the other options for international students in getting internships, jobs after you get the certification? Possible jobs, or maybe jobs in other countries, since I know a couple different languages. Thank you.
Well, my answer is going to be limited to my experience, so forgive me for that. I've worked for large international organizations in an HR function. That was aerospace, although not technology. So that's probably the best reference point that I can give you, is that we did hire international students with that organization. There's the visa component to contend with, and I feel like the limits on those visas keep shrinking year after year. So I think that your best approach would be a larger organization that has those resources available to them. Companies like J-Curve, it's not an option. I don't have the budget. But an Intel, my gosh,
We do. We hire a lot of international students at Intel.
So I think that's where you want to set your sights if that helps.
Good evening, guys. My name is Paul Piper. I'm taking CIS 233, CIS 190 online. What else am I taking? Hold up. I'm having a dumb moment real quick.
Program design, web development, and networking.
That's his mother there, John.
Thank you, Dr. Brandt.
What he meant.
So my question is, how much money can you start off making working at Intel, and then how much money can you make after working there, say 5 years or so?
It's all about the money. Well, clearly not enough, because I'm still there. Goodness sakes, after 21 years. My husband also, we both work there. It really totally varies, because there's so many different factors when they bring you in. Your education level, your experience, it all factors in. So it could be a wide range. And, honestly, coming in, some people come in and, they may kind of stay where they're at for a while. Most people usually, make a promotion pretty soon, within 3 or 4 years of joining, I would say. Some people, though, are like the super promoters, and it's like every other year they go up. Some people, hit their high point, and that's it. So, they do have a very good starting salary and range. Absolutely. I think it's quite good, for someone just graduating. But as far as, there could be somebody that's been at the company 5 years that makes, 3 times what somebody makes that's been there 20 years. So, wish I could tell you, you'd immediately be a millionaire.
He was wanting a dollar amount.
I trust me, when I've had interns work for me in the past and I saw their salary, I was like, wow, okay, I'm going to go back and be an intern. Less work, less responsibility, and good money. So they do have very good salaries.
There's a lot of salary information on the web. You can go to
There would be
sites like
ranges.
Glassdoor, or even Dice.com is going to have salary information. Not all of it. You have to take it with a grain of salt, most definitely, because it's self-reported.
But you
as long as
mentioned
the reviews.
$13 an hour starting. That's $26,000 a year, right?
Right, and that is associate's level.
Associate's level,
We have
so.
a hard time hanging on to bachelor candidates because it's hard to get out of school with your student loans and pay them off with $13, quite honestly. But I would, just dig around and look for some of that information. But like I said, just don't think that it's the gospel.
Any other thoughts on the panel?
Well, I think the only other thing that I'll add to that is you may want to research, there are some scarce skills or some emerging skills where there is need, but there aren't people. And you're really good, you can get in even though you have limited experience, because these are new technologies, right? So there aren't that many people. So that may be another angle to look at. And then the downside of that is sometimes these technologies, they don't last long. There's a hype curve. So, but that will be another factor to look at, as I mentioned, data scientists. I mean, back in when there was Y2K, I don't know if many people know that.
They were like 6. They were in kindergarten.
Yeah, at that point, if you could spell COBOL, you were hired.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
So some of these technologies are in that trend, like Angular or some of the responsive technologies, because, as I said, the technology changes so fast now. So look into that, if you're after just the money. But I'm sure, very soon you will find out it's never just the money. Because you have to go for what is it that I'm trying to solve, and money will follow, right? So you have to have the passion. And then once you are interested in that, money will come. I can guarantee that, because with IT, I mean, look around. All these companies, startups, there are few survive, and the reason they survive is because they have something different to offer that nobody else is offering. So I think that should be the passion.
And I mean, I'm passionate about it.
I know.
But at the same time,
You want some money. You want to get paid. Yeah, that's fair.
Yep.
That's fair. Well, and I think to call out what he was saying around the flexibility too, because the trends do come and go. So if you can be an early adopter and jump on the trend, you're going to get to move around, and you're going to have more opportunities to advance quicker. Some people are happy kind of staying in their same vein. That's fine, but you're probably not going to move up as quickly.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mark Maryhugh. I'm a little bit older than most in here. I'm 32. I spent 11 years in the military, and towards the tail end of that, after I had a daughter, I decided that I didn't want that to be my career, because I was infantry and combat arms, and I was going the SF route, but I didn't want to leave my daughter without her father. So I decided to come home. And after 3 deployments, it got a little dangerous. So I wanted to come home and raise my daughter. So at the tail end of my career, I decided that I wanted to go back to school and finish school. And I'm actually graduating this spring. But I kind of hit this roadblock in my career where I'm making a lot of money in construction, but in project management. I spent 2 years in electrical engineering after coming back, and it was the only career that I could get. And the last 3 years I've spent in project management, and I'm finishing up my CIS degree in programming and building video games and websites and stuff like that and staying current with the trends. But I kind of hit this roadblock where I'm 2 years short on my PMP, on project management experience to get my PMP, but I don't want to go into a base level job where I'm making only $10 an hour. I have a daughter, and I've got to be able to support my family. But like I said, I kind of hit a roadblock where I'm at this impasse where I don't know what to do. I'm almost done with my GI Bill. I've got to go back, and I want to finish my bachelor's degree in graphic design and game development and stuff like that. But I do want to I want to make that switch from construction over to software management, program management, project management, where I want to stay relevant in that level of management, but it's hard coming in. And I've already done I did a Java internship with American Express for 9 months. And I figured out that I wasn't happy at American Express, so I didn't stay there. So I went back to construction, and now I want to go back into IT, but I got to figure out where I'm at.
So what's your question?
My question is kind of, what do you recommend for me? Somebody that's a little bit older and at that impasse where I've got to figure out what to do the next step.
First of all, thank you for your service.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. So your project management skills from the construction side are definitely transferable. Have you thought about combining the two, the technology? Because, there is a lot of demand for good project managers that understand development as well. And so I would encourage you to pursue something along those lines, because that may help you get through the roadblock that you're encountering.
That's kind of where I'm at right now, is I'm developing these video games with teams, and I'm managing the team as well as coding all of the video games, scripting everything, and doing random level generation and stuff like that, and doing web pages, and managing teams is, just side projects.
And your PMP, I mean, I have a PMP as well, but are you pursuing like the traditional PMP or the agile based, or?
I'm going to pursue the traditional PMP. I didn't know anything about it up until about a year ago, so I'm still new to that whole concept.
Okay.
About 2 years in project management, somebody turned me on to it. So
yeah.
I do want to finish and get my PMP and just kind of have it.
Because there's definitely an opportunity there for you to combine both your skill sets.
Actually, somebody that works on my team made the transition from construction and project management to project management and IT, and then kind of moved that into a role being an infrastructure engineer. So I completely second what he said. You've got skills that are in demand, and you've got an understanding of the type of projects that you're managing. Those make the best project managers. So.
Dan, can I just add to that quick? I know earlier when I was talking to Jan, I was suggesting that you focus on larger organizations, but in your case, I would definitely include mid-sized to smaller organizations in your search as well, or companies that you're targeting, because I think they might be a little bit more flexible in being able to accept your particular skill set, your resume, what you have listed as experience. And typically the job descriptions are broader, so you might get more experience under your belt and be able to translate that into then going to an Intel or a choice that might be a little bit more strict on what they're looking for. They might want that PMP.
And it's not required to have a PMP to be a PM. There was a big push, I don't know, probably like 10 years ago. That was the hot trend. It's like, oh my gosh, you have to have a PMP. So of course, buckle down, study, make up all these, acronyms, take the test, pass it, thank goodness. And I think it's good to have. I don't think it's necessarily impacted my work or what I've been able to do. And we actually do have, within my organization, we have a construction team, basically, that's what they do as far as IT construction, as far as fit up buildings, get all the equipment set up, because we have a lot of acquisitions, a lot of investors, we move stuff around. So we actually have, and those would, that would be a PM type role. So that would be very aligned with just what you are currently doing, for sure.
So one thing just to add to that. So I think you said that you want to continue PMP. I think mentioned about Agile. Take a look into that because you may find Agile more. Because that is really what most of the software companies are moving towards. So if you are willing to make an investment, there's always, you have to keep looking at what is in the market right now and what can get you in the door sooner, right? So take a look at that. And the other thing you mentioned about was being 32 as your age. So I don't think that is any barrier. You just need to not even consider that. You can pretty much do anything you want. So, I think that's what you need to look at. What is it that I'm bringing to the table, right? There's a lot of new stuff. That's the interesting part about IT right now. Some of these technologies, they didn't even exist a couple of years back. So you can pick those up and you can be as new as anybody else. So I think it's great that you are looking into these things.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of avenues. Honestly, with just what you described, that you could go down. Sometimes too much, maybe.
Yes.
Yes.
And you can shave the beard, take a couple years off too. Was there another question?
Hello. First of all, thank you guys for being here. We all really appreciate that. My name is Austin. I'm actually kind of going for 2 different associate's degrees, and then my bachelor's a little bit up in the air. Programming systems and analysis, and then associates in computer information systems. Like I said, bachelor's is a little bit up in the air right now, but ultimately I'm focusing on game design. I have 2 specific questions here right now as far as more of entry-level stuff. There's kind of a thing with CompTIA known as the trifecta, that's A+, N+, and Security+. My first question is, and kind of piggyback off of what Alona said, how important would you see it to have those 3 certifications? And then my second question is kind of piggyback off of, I think is you, Nick, with automation, specifically dealing with programming and these sort of kind of entry-level jobs. Where do you think that's going to be pushing the market as far as skill set for prospective employees, people who are trying to get a job into this area of IT?
Well, taking off your first question about the CompTIA certifications, I have my A+ certification. I was required to get it for a tech support job I had about, 12 years ago. I don't really think it's ever done me any good, to be totally honest. However, I do think the Network Plus and Security Plus have a little something to offer. I think the A+, if you're not going to be a hardware repair technician, I don't know that it has a lot to offer that translates well into an enterprise type environment. Again, but if you specifically doing repair and things like that, there's definitely a lot of benefit to it. As far as automation goes, and specifically with development, I think things like Jenkins and Docker and container technologies, if you have skill sets and familiarities with things like that, Those are, again, on the curve, those are all emerging technologies that are hot that will get you a foot in the door somewhere. Again, like I mentioned earlier, it's a lot of code as a service kind of stuff with automation, but yeah, I think that those are good things to look at.
Just to reinforce what my colleague here said, when I was an engineer, I had 8 certifications at one time. And when I jumped into management, PMP is the only one I kept. Because no matter what level you're at in IT, you're always going to be doing some level of project management. So just to throw that out there. But with cloud technologies emerging, the technologies he just mentioned, we're using today, some of them. And they're vital in order to, whether you're using a colo or a physical data center or on-premise is what they refer to it as. You have to keep all those systems in sync, and there's going to be a huge demand for people that know Jenkins and Puppet and Chef and Docker, because it's almost like we're an Amazon customer. The ability to spin up and spin down virtual servers at will, almost, is key when it comes to development and prototyping new applications with our internal customers. So, like him, I would encourage you to explore those a little more carefully.
Lisa, do you have thoughts there on his question? Certifications, entry-level jobs?
Yeah, I think Nick spoke to it pretty well. I would just reinforce that. You don't get it just to get it, just to check it off your list. Get it because it's applicable to the direction you want to take your career.
Thank you. Got another question on the left.
Yeah. All right. So do you guys work with technology staffing agencies, and would you recommend that as a way to get a job?
And this is Struther.
What classes is he taking?
He's taking object-oriented systems analysis and design.
C#, Linux, and databases, SQL.
So your question was, do we work with staffing companies?
Yeah, like
yes.
staffing agencies, and would you recommend that as a way to get a job?
Definitely. Generally in companies, the first thing is you look internal. Are there people internal that are willing to move or pick up the job? And then, right now the HR departments, they source from LinkedIn. There are a lot of sites that already has information. And and that's where the thing come in. If it is a specialized skill, and to be honest, in Valley, it's not very easy to find things like Jenkins and Puppet. These are all DevOps type things. If you have to find people, there is a handful. There's always shortage. So then that's where these staffing companies they come in, and I would say you use all avenues. Looking for a job. Use LinkedIn, all these, websites, and then do reach out to recruiters. Get to know them, link them on LinkedIn, share with them what you're looking for, and that is another resource you have. And the biggest thing is having your own internal network. A lot of recruitment happens just by knowing somebody, referral programs, your friend somewhere, because there is so much resume that come at you. It's always easy for a hiring manager if they get a candidate through somebody who has something good to say about them, makes their life easier. Because on paper, I can tell you, most of the resume look very similar.
I would definitely second that. It's a great resource that is available to you. There's no cost to you. For most recruiters, they get paid by the hiring organization. So it's just one more piece of ammunition that you have in your search.
Yeah, the only thing I'll add to that is sometimes these recruiters are very pushy.
That's true.
Right? They will put you in any job, and that's where you have to be clear what is it that you're looking for. Okay, so.
Hi, my name's Alex. I'm a CIS student here. I'm currently an IT auditor right now, so I have a previous degree. I'm just trying to cap off some of the technical skills. What I want to know is, so you guys keep talking about, emerging trends. I want to know what do you guys think as far as like the whole, machine learning paradigm shift that's going on? Because you guys mentioned cloud computing, and I think, that's kind of the now that's already here. But as far as like, what do you guys think for emerging positions that are going to happen as far as maybe analytics, or you guys mentioned data science? Are there going to be any new positions that don't exist today because of machine learning? And specific to programming too, I know Microsoft is coming out with some of these things that are actually, since everything's very modular now, with object-oriented programming, that they can actually search open source program or code that's out there and create their own programs. So maybe that job market's going to kind of change a little bit. What do you guys think about that, and what do you guys look for moving forward, trying to cultivate new technical, people, things like that?
I can share, whatever I have seen. So I think your question was more around how is machine learning changing the job paradigm, and where is the analytics still relevant or not? So I think, I have a colleague here who is owning a SEO type work. So we work with, I manage the digital experience portfolio. And we work very much hand in hand with data analytics, because that is the backbone of where a business is going. We collect so much data through different channels, through website, through mobile, to slice and dice, what is our customer base? And as businesses making changes to the offerings, are they really making positive impact or a negative impact, right? The machine learning is only a tool for data analysts to ingest that much information and slice and dice it and bring it in a manageable form. But the need for people to understand that data and do all these statistical models and see, what the data is telling us is still there.
Do you think that's a gap machine learning will be able to fill, or will there be more demand for jobs in that area? Well, I'm trying to see what needs to be filled in the future, because I think some of the positions are going to go away, and then there's going to be emerging areas in positions that might not even exist right now. So would you say analytics would probably be? Because from also what I've learned too is from what I've seen with like the AI stuff and the search algorithms, it's very statistics based, and the statistics seems to be the more difficult piece of that than even the programming. So how do you guys feel? I know you guys mentioned math too. Is that still valued, or is it on a more analytical basis?
So if your question is, do we see, based on how AI, machine learning is growing, do we see that need of analysts dropping? I can't see that. I mean, I don't think that's the case, right? At least right now, right? But even to build those models, see, software developers are not really, they don't understand a lot of business domain. We still work with analysts, we still work with the business side to understand what is it that they are looking for. So if anything, I think it makes the demand on data analysts, people who can slice and dice the data, people who do statistics, higher, in my opinion.
Could you give me like a specific example
of
a job or position that would?
So as I said, I think SEO team, SEO is all about, figuring out the data, how your traffic, what traffic is coming, what is new traffic. When you do campaigns in the business, business comes up with buy one, get one free, or any kind of campaigns, is that campaign actually driving the business? Is it growing the business? Those kind of
business intelligence, BI, okay.
Yeah.
BI, right? So BI is one side of it, and data analyst is another side of it, where you're actually adjusting. There is something called A/B testing, and what A/B testing is, this is how you build hypothesis. A lot of time you don't know whether a green color is better than a red color. So business always are experimenting with, the look and feel of a website, and that's where at the back of it is data analysts. All that data that comes in goes to the data analysts in an organization, and they then help, prove out solution A is better than solution B, or probably solution C is better?
The one thing I'll add to that is the company I work for now is a relatively small company, a couple of hundred employees, but my previous two employers were CVS Health and State Farm Insurance, which combined totaled over 400,000 employees between the two of them. The number one position that they were seeking to fill in the IT field was in data analytics. So people who can analyze the data and impact the business based on the information that they already have, like that's a valuable skill.
Like forecasting models?
Yeah, stuff like that. And being able to, a lot of it was user experience or customer feedback, or, maybe they changed their marketing campaign and they want to see, have we seen an increase in, inquiries from new clients or things like that. The data of the business is, in today's day and age, exponentially more valuable. And to be able to take that data and give it some actual use, that's a very valuable thing.
And if you mentioned math, if you're writing code for data mining, the importance of math becomes even more critical, because you're always looking to shave seconds off a search algorithm or a sort algorithm, and when you're working off of terabytes of data or even petabytes, it's very critical. So.
My name is Rebecca, and I'm more interested in I want to know if you guys have any experience or know anybody computer forensics. So basically, analyzing data kind of to solve forensic crimes. If that makes kind of sense over there. That's where my interest is. I want to know if you guys have any experience or know anybody, or know how to get my foot in the door with that.
So computer forensics.
So go right ahead.
No, I actually don't even dwell in that area, so that's.
Like I said, one of the primary focuses of our business is we are a data center, and we have data center space that we rent out to all kinds of companies, all kinds of clients, and because of that, we also have the FBI and the CIA and the NSA. They all have presence in our data center somewhere. Nobody's going to tell you where it is, but it's there. I'm not kidding. And so we have part of our security team. We have somebody who works very closely with the Secret Service and with the FBI to deal with things like that. There's a lot of sensitive information. Again, we just provide a place. We don't manage or ask questions too much about what type of business you do or what type of data that you have. And we also offer a public cloud like Amazon or anything else, where anybody with a credit card can spin up a server and start doing whatever they want. There's some nefarious things that start happening when you offer services like that. So we have a security team, and part of our team is dealing with investigation and forensics, and most of the time those type of requests come from the government and through official channels, things like that. So if that's something you're looking to get into, I think that government type resources is probably going to be more of your focus.
So just to add to that, I think forensics, I think there is a crossover between forensics and info security and general security, right? Today, every company has to make sure, especially financial organizations, there is something called a PCI compliance, which means you have to make sure that customers' data is secure, it is not leaking, And often, all these companies are always getting attacked. There are people always trying to find out holes in the system, trying to get to your data, sneak in, and there is constant, in my experience, in our security team is always coming back, and they are finding some suspicious activity. They need people who can start making sense of this. Like what is the trail here? It's not true. I mean, it is kind of forensics. It is kind of crime, because if people are trying to steal data, that is a crime. I mean, that is what has been my experience. But again, there is the FBI and there is the big scale. And if you're trying to get in, one of the way would be to get into these companies and see, I'm sure like Amex and all these companies, what do they do for fraud protection? How do they know fraud is happening? So I think that's part of all that forensics stuff.
Beyond fighting crime, every Fortune 500 company I work for would have their own internal investigation teams for when, as an example, for when employees are doing naughty things on their computer during company time, company property. And so those teams would work with HR, to provide the evidence for any disciplinary action. So that's, I mean, there's all just different avenues that you could take a computer forensics career.
We've got another question.
Yeah, my name is Daniel Adike. I'm from Nigeria. I'm an international student. This is my first semester here. I'm glad to be in this career talk. I have two questions. My first question goes thus: I want to know, is there an age bracket for recruitment for Intel? Like, is there an age bracket? Is there like, can you be 30? Can you be 40? Can you be 50 and want to work? And in an entry position like you said, and I want to know how competitive is that, like in terms of age? Because back in my country, Nigeria, there is that age bracket kind of scare that if you get to this age, getting a job is kind of difficult. My second question is, I'm studying CIS, Computer Information Systems. I wanted to study network administration, but I realized that I cannot be able to transfer to a four-year university studying network administration as a degree. I could only do it here for 2 years, so I had to change to CIS. I wanted to know the growth rate in terms of employment. I wanted to know how feasible it is in the market, and what to expect in the future. Is it the outlook? Is it really growing, or is it just a managerial position, in quote? That's what I want to know. Thanks.
I'll tackle the age question from an HR perspective. It's illegal. There's a big federal law called Age Discrimination in Employment Act that prohibits any employer from considering age as a consideration for hiring. I won't tell you it doesn't happen, but they can get in big trouble for using that factor in a decision-making process. So,
Yeah, and at Intel, I mean, honestly, I see new hires that are aged, 21, and you see them, in their 40s and 50s. So we have different avenues that we bring people in. Certainly we have, college recruiting programs, but, some of the people we bring in have PhDs and they're, 30-something just because they've been in school. As you mentioned, we've got recruiters that are out working through LinkedIn and all these different channels that are finding someone specific with a skill set that have experience doing something. I actually did a workforce planning role for about 9 months and hired in about 180 people. And I was totally doing that. I had the recruiter access on LinkedIn, and I was searching for specific skills and calling them up. Hey, are you interested? So those people were not, recent college graduates. They might have been, who knows how old they were, but they were not. They had experience, at least, 10, 15, 20 years. So I don't think age is really relevant. And there is a law, but I honestly don't think it matters. They're either bringing you in because you've got a specific skill set, or they think you're going to, be successful in the organization. I think that's more the reason.
I had another thought on that subject real quick too. Don't make it easy on a company to discriminate against you because of your age. Don't list it on your resume. We're not in the military anymore. I would refrain from listing graduation dates. You can definitely list your degree, but if somebody sees that you graduated in a certain year, there's an assumption that will happen. Oh, they're in their 20s. Oh, they're in their 40s. Mm-hmm. Be careful about listing too much experience. 3 or 4 page resume. It's true. You get tired of looking through it, but it also, if you've got a job that shows you were going from 1970 to 1977, again, there's an assumption that won't be made. So take the choice away from them.
Okay, so I'm going to ask the panel just to think about this for 1 minute, and if there's any pearls of wisdom you'd like to share, we're going to give you a couple minutes to think about that. We've got some giveaways we're going to do here, but while we're doing that, if you want to think of one last kind of closing thought of a pearl of wisdom to share, we'd appreciate that. And those out there in the audience, hopefully you've filled out the registration. Anybody not fill one of these out? Come down real quick here. We'll give you a real...
Hurry up. I don't think you should be given that option. Right and circle around. Yeah.
Right down there. Did she?
Yep.
Yeah. Did she leave?
Fill one of those out.
Oh.
Here's a pen.
Oh, we wanted their information anyway, right? Oh. So what do we got here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and
and 2 t-shirts.
2 t-shirts.
Yep.
Just put your first and last names on there real quick.
No.
Right?
Speed it up. You're holding us up, Mark.
College after high school.
I tried to go back a few times. I just couldn't do it.
You need to fill it out if you want credit for this. Otherwise, you can just give
I think I started again about that time after I got out of the military. I think I tried again, and I don't know.
I went right after high school, and
I did good.
I went to drive, and it was the biggest waste of time and money I ever had in my life.
But I wish I did have it.
I absolutely wish I did.
I definitely probably could have gotten earlier in my life a lot. But, when you're on your own company,
It's tough for you.
You don't really need it.
I was fortunate. A company I got on with right after high school. It's an engineering culture, and they value skills over diplomas. And so I was able to work my way up to the level without the doctor to pay for it, so I went and got it. Absolutely. After I'd been there for 10 months.
Thank you.
So
Okay.
I was fortunate that way.
If I get your attention, please.
So we're helping people out to get engineering title.
All right. So here's what we got. We've got a nice Scottsdale Community College. We got 2 coffee cups. We've got an artichoke decoration. I think it's a candle.
It's a candle.
It's a candle. We've got an RD that you can hook onto your backpack or your keychain. We've got a couple of USB drives, 16 gigs. These are pretty nice. Can't have too many of those. And we've got a couple of t-shirts with our SCC logo or CIS logo on it. So I'm going to go ahead and mix these up.
Okay.
Sheila's going to draw, and then you can come down. You get to cherry pick. So the first person is
Alona.
Oh, it's right on that.
I want to keep it.
You want the candle?
All right.
Awesome.
All right, you can finish that.
Let me close my eyes. I don't have my glasses on. Can you read that?
Okay. Paul.
Gotta go with the flash drive.
Got with the flash drive.
Chris Donnert. I can't read it. Something O-N-E-R-T. Might be you? C-R-I-S.
Yeah.
Chris? Okay. go. Is this you?
Yeah, that's
Okay, good. Yeah.
Is it one
Yep,
of those?
just one.
Just one. Can you read that?
Okay, this is Dominic Maggio. Dominic?
So we got a USB drive, little Artie keychain.
Or the t-shirt. Never had too many t-shirts.
I'll see the Artie.
Okay.
All right.
Casey Gerber.
Coffee mug, USB, t-shirt.
T-shirt.
USB, bro.
All right.
Ryder. Ryder was here. Oh, Ryder left. Oh well. Sorry. We don't know what he would pick, so. Michelle Vigil. All right.
All right. Not a whole lot of run on the t-shirts. We got 2 t-shirts left, so.
You're getting a t-shirt. No choice here. Riley. That's you, Riley. Yes. Oh, different Riley. Sorry, Riley. Sorry.
Riley, what size t-shirt? Large. 2. And the last t-shirt, there you go. Congratulations.
Sheeta?
Shada. Medium? Large. Well, small's we got. That's small.
Thank you for playing, right?
Okay, so here's the drill now. I'm just gonna go around the panel, ask them any last pearls of wisdom. Then we're gonna adjourn, gonna go outside. We've got refreshments out there. It's a chance to kind of mingle with the panelists as well as we've got some CIS graduates here. If you would all stand up for the graduates that are here.
So they're wearing t-shirts, some of them. Yep, so they're out here. They were where you were previous semesters. They're on to their next journey, which might be employment or might be ASU or NAU, and they're here to mingle with you and ask them questions, get tips, all that good stuff. So
before we do that, Steve, any last?
Sure. I actually wrote down a few here. So, I mean, let's just take an effect that everybody's good at their job and they work well. So here's the things I look for in a person, other than skill level, right? So leadership, salesmanship, good communication, dedication, willing to learn, professional appearance. I mean, it's kind of important. I have big corporate clients like Red Bull, Uber, Cox Cable. They're big clients of mine. Professionalism, punctuation, problem solving skills. Customer service is a big deal. And then being responsible, especially if you make mistakes, taking responsibility, not blaming it on somebody else. And just somebody just hustles. Those are things I look for in somebody.
thanks, Steve.
I think IT has always been a great career path, and so some people may not be bullish on IT, but I'm really optimistic about it. And I think that there are so many different things that you can do in IT. That covers just about every personality type or whatever your niche is. Find that piece of IT that you really love to do, and just work hard and excel at it, because in most companies, when it comes to like performance reviews, it's not just what you accomplished, it's how you accomplished it. So work hard, work with integrity, and then really do what you love. Find your niche in IT.
I got a couple, and mine are more from an engineer's perspective. Most of these people are, my colleagues here are managers or business owners, and I'm just a worker. So the advice I would give you is to find a place that makes you happy. I've taken jobs for money and gotten there and wish I hadn't. I'm a workaholic. I'm 32 and I'm not married and I work a lot. So having a place that I get to get up and go to every day that I look forward to going to and that I like being at is a very, very valuable thing to me. So whatever it is you choose to do, make sure it's something you're happy doing. The other thing I have to say is that I always think being a jack of all trades in IT is a useful thing, but I don't think it pays the bills very well. I would recommend that you find some semblance of a specialization, even if it's just a general direction, and become good at it. Make sure it's something you like doing. But I think somebody who has a skill set that's in demand versus a broad skill set that can do a little bit of everything will always be more valuable in the job market. That's the experience that I've had. And the other thing that I would like to say is I really like seeing all the diversity in this room. IT is traditionally a lot of males, and I think our type of business suffers from not having a diverse group of people who work in it. I think the more people from the more backgrounds, the more women that we have in our industry, the more ideas that we get, the more different ways of thinking, the more different approaches to solving a problem we get. And so I'm very encouraged by seeing the diversity and just the general aspect of the students here. So I think that's a wonderful thing. And I think we need more of it. So thank you all.
And I'll just springboard on the diversity comment, because one of the reasons why Intel said, well, let's start looking at community colleges was because they were looking for more diversity. We were having a very difficult time, mainly the females. It's really difficult to get females in the technical fields. And so that was one of the reasons. So yes, I would agree. I think it's great. It's a great mixture of folks here. So I think you're not going to go wrong with a degree, a technical degree that you all are studying. It sounds like a huge variety of classes. You're not going to go wrong. You're going to find a great job. There will be places for you to go, lots of opportunities. What I do think is when you get into your opportunity, if you're going to survive and thrive, you just need to be flexible, be, open-minded, open to change, because our industry changes all the time. Every year, it's like, oh, this is what we're doing. Oh my God. And everybody runs around and then they change the strategy and you do that. Those people that are willing to jump on that bandwagon and do what you need to, be a self-starter and move forward, are the ones that are still there, and they're the ones that are leading the other groups. So I think if you want to advance, and some of you were kind of looking at how do you get ahead, that's really how you do it, and it's more fun too. So good luck, everybody.
Thank you.
I think my 2 cents would be, one is don't do IT just for IT, because I'm sure you can all write good code and do all the great stuff. That's what you're learning. You have to get behind an idea or a problem that you're solving and be passionate about it. IT is something that you have to learn, breathe, and know it inside out, no doubt about that. But you have to also pick up another domain, learn about what is it that you're trying to solve. And if you can apply your knowledge to solve that problem, you made it. That's basically what should be your drive. And, in today's market, there are so many technologies coming up. It's even challenging for us. We have been on this project or in this profession for quite some time. It is scary. to be honest, because every time there is a new technology come in, new buzzword. So get into the habit of just trying to keep up with it. You're not going to be able to know all, but find your niche, as some of the folks said here, and get into the habit of staying. Build some kind of a forum where you're at least appraised of what really are the trends. Get to develop a habit of reading. I talked about building your network, so that you're always aware of what's happening. Join some groups. I think that's going to help you, build that regime, which will last a long time. So all the best.
So mine is more of a practical advice, I guess, from the recruiting perspective. I think that anyone who's beginning their journey into a job search, I recommend that you treat each interview as an assignment. It's just like you would for school. So make sure you've done all of your research, make sure that you have fully determined what position you're applying for, what position you'll be interviewing for. Come with a list of questions. It's a big turnoff during an interview if you don't ask any questions. I think a lot of this advice you can find on pretty much any career counseling site, but it's so true. So I think you just need to go into the whole process as prepared as you possibly can.
Again, a big hand, a round of applause. And we want to thank all the students for coming. I mean, this is why we are here. So we thank you very much. And here's your next assignment. Since we're going to go outside and mingle, you need to get out of your comfort zone and go talk to somebody here. This is what we brought these people to you for, as well as our students. Make sure you talk to at least one of them so that you can start building those personal networking skills. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Tommy.
Hey, great to see you. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Hey, Joe, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Okay.